Welcome to Stories with Dice. This is the Dark Blue Sea, a Mutant Year Zero actual play podcast. If you're enjoying our actual plays, please subscribe to Stories with Dice so you'll never miss an episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. It really helps others discover the podcast. Follow us on social media to stay updated, share your thoughts, and join the conversation. You'll find the relevant links in the description of each episode.
Welcome back to episode 8 of our Mutant Year Zero campaign. Right, it was a very tense ending, the last episode. We found out the Elder was dead. Caspian and Cochran managed to hopefully talk their way out of being fingered for it. But before we do that, I'd like to say hi to Marco. Hello.
Hello, playing Caspian, who definitely did not, but did kill one of the bosses. No, did not. No,
never. We've got Pete. Hey, Pete, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Hey.
Wait to see what unfolds next.
God knows. Chris, hello.
Hello. I'll be playing Moss, who's outraged that the Elder's been dead all this time. How dare they?
Shocker. And Douglas, hi.
Hello. I'm playing Cochran as usual, who managed to identify someone who'd been dead for multiple days.
Yay, heal skill. Yes, so we're kind of like going to fast forward from where we left off. Pretty much after a lot of sort of umming and ahhing, a lot of shouting and swearing and trying to figure out what's actually happened, it's fairly easy to convince them that the Elder has been dead for a few days. Others will kind of like verify that she is not fresh and that clearly Anwin has been hiding some things from the rest of the people. It incenses everyone. Everyone wants to know what's going on. There's only one person that's actually on the ship that is part or was part of Anwin's gang, and she can't really say very much because she's been slapped around quite a bit by the mob to find out what's happened to the Elder. You've all pretty much been taken to see essentially the only surviving boss on the ship, which is Elson, who has kind of sort of said, right, we just need to take some time out. We need to figure out what's been going on. We need to actually look at what's happened. We need to see what we're going to do next. Anwin is on the island to the north, and she can stay there. She's not going anywhere else. We're here. The Rugged Gang is kind of trying to figure out who's going to lead them. Currently, it seems to be either Nafta or it's Monja, the fixer. So Nafta's the gearhead, and Monja's the fixer. So yes, they're kind of figuring out what's happening. So everyone's kind of said, actually, what we'll do is we'll just let Elson kind of take the reins for a bit. He seems quite happy with that, but he always seems happy with his very large skull and his permanent grin that he has on his face. So he's basically said what they need to do is hunker down, fix the repairs, and just kind of take stock of anything. And during those few days of them taking stock, you can all heal any damage you've taken from the last session. And can someone roll me a d6 plus 1 to tell me how many people actually, after a few days, just didn't make it?
I did it last session, so I'll let somebody else do it, even though I enjoy doing it tremendously.
Do we have to worry about you, Marco?
No, it's good fun. It's all in good fun. I only like to kill people fictionally.
That's fine. That's what you should do.
Yeah, go
on, Chris.
Three people die.
So unfortunately, you lost a number of them. Okay, and while we're here, you have some projects that are outstanding. One, there's some watchtowers and some cropland. Now, the cropland you will put on the island. And Anwin is more than happy to continue doing that. Does anyone want to help with the watchtowers? Or does anyone want to secretively go over to the island and help with the cropland? Or did you want to start with some cropland around this area as well?
Here's a question. We weren't planning on putting the watchtower on the chimney by any chance.
You were not.
That's good, because that might just wiped out all of our progress. I was like, oh, dear.
Why don't we all work on the watchtower so we can, and we'll deal with the cropland and the island later, right?
So
most of the food's here, so we're fine.
Yeah, so feel free. If you want to make an endure or scout roll, please do so. And I'm looking for 4 4
Wow.
successes. We've got
He has two
Yeah.
successes.
So, yeah,
Pete's putting in all the work.
that's my pet project.
Caspian has nothing. Douglas has 1.
Douglas really put some work in there as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm just not that effective at enduring.
So close. So close.
Yeah,
So how
the
many-
5s.
How many did we need?
You needed 4 and you got 3. Which
So
isn't too
close.
bad. So close. But that's all right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. So you put in a lot of work, kind of, I guess part and parcel is fixing the smokestack. In fact, now you've suddenly got a lot more material to work with. It actually turns out to be a lot easier. Everyone's kind of a bit more united at the moment. And so, yeah, definitely they start to sort of work out. But it's a few days later, and you guys are, in fact, you as a group are called to Elson's quarters for a conversation.
Okay.
We have to.
Well, you could choose not to go if you don't want to.
You know, I don't really like Elson. I sort of like thumb my nose at him at the best time, so I'm just going to stay back in my bunk and they can tell me. If Elson wants to come speak to me, he can come find me. He knows where he is. Well, nothing he says is of much interest. Last time I
Okay.
got involved in politics, I kind of like fucked up the entirety of the boat 3 days ago. And this is why I don't get involved in politics.
Cochran, I really think you should go.
Yeah, come on, please. Don't be like that.
Cochran, make an exception. He's asked for all of us. He's one of the bosses, one of the 2 remaining bosses left. Well, he's the only boss on the boat left. I mean,
Technically.
I really think you should go. We don't need to put a spotlight on any of us at the moment.
Cochran,
We didn't-
you don't
we
need
don't-
to like him to be able to work with him.
Yeah, we don't want to stand out. Do you know what I'm saying, Cochran?
Well, you don't need to stand out.
Buddy, oh pal, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure we have discussed this at some point over the last few days.
Not sure what you're referring to. Let's go. Get out of your bunk. I'll tie you up and drag you by your heels if I have to.
All right. Well, in that case, you all
Ed-
go. I
Ed
suppose.
just made a private roll, the bastard.
Fine.
Okay.
But, Cochran will be grumpy and moody and like a teenager about this entire thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah. You make your way to Elson's quarters, and Elson is, so he sort of like, his quarters are down deep in the ship, and sort of it's covered sort of like grease and sort of like there's lots of gears and engines and lots of things happening. It's got a weird kind of like very sort of like peculiar smell that kind of you get as soon as you sort of like go into the bowels of the ship. And he has kind of got in his own quarters, he's got sort of this very Spartan but very sort of mechanical looking room that all the floor is made of like grating. There's gears and various other things sort of like kicking around in the place. There's lots of tools as well. And he's in the room and he's speaking to a couple of his people. You can see and Lambda, who as soon as they see you, kind of like wander off, leaving you with Elson. Elson asks you to sit down and he says, "Thank you for coming. As you can imagine, the last few days have been very trying, and clearly we have a lot to do here. We've got the repairs to make. We've lost the water purifier, but thankfully you have all found that other pipe, didn't you, back in the zone? So I'm really grateful of you for doing that. So we need to see if we can find more resources in the zone. So I'm asking if you, seeing as you did a very good job last time, would mind taking out one remaining ship and going out and looking either on the island that we're on or further afield would be great. You seem to know how to handle yourselves, and you seem to be involved in a lot of things around here.
I'm
You
not
seem
really
very
sure what that
capable.
refers to.
Oh, you
Mr.
seem very capable, with everything that's around, and you kind of helped out.
Yes. Okay. I would agree with that. Yes.
And you're not really part of any of the gangs, so it makes sense that as being sort of independent, you could do that for us.
I'm up for it. I can't speak for the rest of my fellows.
I'm not going to... Yes.
Can I make a sense emotion roll on this guy to get a read on him?
Common.
Is 2 successes.
Nice. So let's do his. So he has 4 empathy. Yeah, he seems quite genuine. He appears to have the best interest of the ship at heart. He clearly just wants to kind of build up his resources as much as he can, and he figures that you're the best lot to do that. So what he's saying is pretty much what he seems to be thinking. He doesn't seem to be hiding anything.
Operative word seems.
Well,
That's quite an honor. I mean, we could just, I'm not saying this out loud, but we could just bugger off with their little ship and like leave them to it. So that's a compliment, even if he doesn't mean it honestly.
Or, there's the other factor of whenever we spend any time around on the ship recently, things just go up really, really, really badly.
Yeah, but I don't think he knows enough about us to have noticed.
he says that Roach has been really helpful, that Roach has kind of, been quite involved in sort of helping, as has Moss, being able to actually get people away from the damage that happened was really, really instrumental. That Cochran has managed to sort of, do the best he can, and that he is as good as a chronicler can be.
This is a very candidate. Just like,
Indeed.
you're great at things. What things?
Yeah.
Things that you're good at, and you offer a unique perspective to the team.
You could tell that maybe it's sort of slightly reciprocated. He doesn't particularly like you.
Or even know who I am.
Or even know who you
Probably.
are. And, or worse, he does know who you are, but enough to diss you a little. And then, of course, Caspian, you're a great navigator, so it makes sense to have you
This is true.
out there. So the only other thing we need to figure out is, what do we want to do with Anwen and her people? Because clearly she's a boss and she needs to be able to make decisions. I mean, I was thinking, and I guess I just really thought of it now, if we were to leave her on the island, she can get on with the cropland and basically making that livable there. And then she's not going to be, we keep them and the rugged gang apart from each other. And it's got to take some doing to get from here to the island. And if you've got the other ship, well, they can't really get across the island.
It's not a long-term solution, I don't think, but for now, I think that works, Mr. Elson.
That'd be great, Caspian. Well, I suppose the first thing you could do is you can go and tell them that if you were to go, when you leave to go and do your explorations, if you're going to be using the ship, then you can just go to the island. Anwen and her team and her gang, but they can just stay there.
Anwen fled. She abdicated her authority on the day that Rhett was brutally murdered, and she lied to us about the Elder. So I think that Anwen can go fuck off.
I feel almost sorry now that we told them where the arable land was. Now that I know that they've been just playing us and using the Elder poor dead body to gain authority over us, that is just all kinds of wrong.
So you think we should just leave them at the island for the moment?
Well, I think that we should
I'm not-
watch them carefully.
Of course.
But for now, I think we should leave them, yes. But we should
Well, I guess
definitely
then-
have people, we should definitely have eyes on them.
We do have eyes on them. We've got some small boats just sort of like just keeping an eye on them. But I mean, we're not going to be able to outrun the ship they've got. But that's okay, because at least we know where they're going. I guess, what did you want to do? Did you want to head out through the island, or did you want to take to the water?
Either one is fine.
Well, we did find those spiders there on that shore. I'd rather sail past them than walk past them.
And well, I'll leave that up to you. You're the experts in that sort of thing. We'll just keep everything going here, make sure everything's fine. We know where the pipe is, so we'll start looking at ferrying water across to the ship, and I'll leave you to do the thing that you do.
Listen, I know we're short of almost everything, but is there any way we could take supplies, maybe? We found out that on meeting those rush rats is really bullet intent.
Ah, yes. Well, he says, I'm sure we can do something. We can kind of like scratch together some bits. I mean, let's have a look. He says, well, I'm just going to have a look at there. What have we got? So we have food of 14. Okay, so you can each take, with a food of 14, you can each take one. He'll be able to give you one ration and one water, which you can take out. So whatever you've got already, you can take one water and one ration when you leave. As far as bullets and stuff are concerned, you have what you can find. There isn't anything to spare.
All right. Makes sense. Yeah.
Right then. Yeah, so that's the gear you can have. You obviously have your good old-fashioned catamaran again.
So is this the island that
This is the island. That's
Okay.
the island that one. So just above you, there's a smaller island, literally between the two zones, which covers both zones, and that's the island that Aaron's.
Have we been to this island yet?
You have not been to the island. It's the island far to the sort of west of the main island, which is the other side of the city that's surrounding water. You have not been to the island.
I'm wondering, what do you guys think if we should go this way?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go.
Okay.
East.
Let us sail
Finally,
along
let's
the
go
coast.
east.
But I think we should go to the island first, see the lore keepers, because I want to make sure that my mate Victon is fine. Like, you guys don't have to come. You can just, like, drop me off and I'll go in and check on him.
I'll wait in the catamaran.
Yeah. You guys made me go speak to this guy. The least you can do is, like, hang around while I go speak to someone I actually want to talk to.
Maybe pass on Elson's message to her while you're there.
I'm just mad that these people still hold her in such high regards when clearly she was a liar all this time. Her boss privileges should be rescinded.
I think that's down to the other bosses. And there's only one of them.
Yeah, and he didn't heed my message, did he? Now
He did
Car.
not. No.
And yes, there is also the fact that they weren't originally planning to run away until Cochran made that suggestion. So once again, he's been intrinsically involved into all the shenanigans.
Oops.
No.
Did Cochran make us? Did Caspian make a
They
suggestion?
were going to evacuate, and he said, "Hey, why don't you go north to the island?"
In
They were
who's-
like, "Great
who's-
idea."
Who said this?
It was Cochran,
Cochran.
I think.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was
Cochran.
Caspian.
No, it was Cochran. Cochran basically was
Oh,
like,
it wasn't
"You should do
Caspian's
this."
idea. Okay.
No. So, yeah, technically, Anowin didn't run away. You told her to run away.
Yep. She
Yep.
took our suggestion really easily.
You see,
Yeah,
Cochran,
that's true.
we make a good team.
We're on the same wavelength, except, when people do things that somehow involve chimneys falling on top of our war supply.
Marco, could you please roll me a d6?
I rolled a 1.
Okay. Yes, it is a light breeze on the wind, which will not affect your rolls for navigator at all, and you will travel at a normal speed. Okay. Right. You leave the large ship, head north to the island. Yep. It doesn't take long. It's literally about a 15-minute sail. You get to the main island. There is a jetty where the other boat is. There appears to be 2 guards by the jetty. And as you kind of get closer, they wave at you and bid you to come in. As you get there, Victon is it looks like seems to be on guard, or at least is one of the guards. So you don't really have to even go very far, Cochran. He's like, "Hey, how are you?"
Things are not great on the ship. How are things on the island here?
It's okay. We heard that there was a lot of crashing, and then we saw the stack fall down.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Right. Going to look at the others and then kind of just be like, do we want to go somewhere maybe a bit private, Victim?
He says,
I
mean,
will shoot Cochran an evil look, like, you do not tell him what just happened. You lie, you make something up, you do not tell him the truth. I don't care how much you trust this guy.
Well, I don't know how much all of them know about
He says,
what's happened.
He says, Ooze, do you want to just leave us? And we'll kind of... Yeah, Ooze basically wanders off. He goes, okay. Well, there we go.
Okay. So I will fill them in about Rhett did something which caused like the tower to blow herself up.
My God.
I will not mention anything about Caspian.
Okay.
Like that caused the tower to crash. No one was hurt, unfortunately.
Did you ask to come back?
No.
Okay.
Elson's kind of got things covered. However, we did go and what was the name of the woman who was in charge of the guard?
It was Astrina. She was on guard.
Yeah, we went to see Astrina to check on the
Was
elder.
she all right? Is she
Okay.
there?
So I'm
And he
going to
kind of
say
looks-
check on the elder, right? And I want to do
Yeah.
a sense of motion on him to see
Okay.
if mentioning checking the elder causes him to be like, you went and did what?
Okay. Go on then. Make a sense motion roll.
'Cause I want to hopefully he's not involved. I have no idea.
Ooh, that's a bad roll. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, and how is she?
She was fine. However, she asked us to look after the elder while she Because they were all accusing you of like bringing down the chimney
and killing Rhett.
Yeah, because you weren't there. You'd departed up at that point.
Yeah. We managed to get out.
However, me and Caspian heard a noise from inside the cabin, so we thought we'd go check on the elder.
Oh, right. Okay. How is everything all right?
The elder's dead.
Yeah.
What?
I will turn to Caspian and be like, yeah, he's right.
What do you mean she's dead?
She's been dead for days. Onwin has been lying to us.
That's kind of why I asked you to send the other guys away.
What? Well, that's not... But I saw her a couple of days ago. She was alive.
Nope. She was...
Did you speak to her?
Once over, and she was cold as ice.
No. She's been like in and out of conscious for like weeks.
Have you seen her, or is that just what someone told you?
Yeah, no, I saw her.
Victim, you were very much mistaken. I'm no healer myself.
His boyish red hair and sort of like that really kind of like young, fresh face. It's like big wide eyes.
That person in that bed, who was the elder, had been dead for... Is it the amount of... Do I think she was probably dead like since like the attack? Or like... Because that's not...
No. She was probably... She probably was alive at the point where there was the...
Okay, so she had been alive at some point recently.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, she may have been alive a wee while ago, but she had been dead for days when we found her.
He just looks really shocked.
And the machines weren't actually helping her stay alive. They were just making it look like she was alive.
No.
And they put her on fucking ice packs, right? I mean, you keep an old lady warm. You don't cool her down. You only cool her down if you don't want her to start smelling. They knew what they were doing, whoever they were.
Yeah.
And it
you
must
guys
have been
are
one of
lore-keepers.
you guys.
You guys know how this stuff works. And that stuff was specifically set up for a different reason than keep it alive.
So, do you think Anwin knows about this?
Well,
yes.
Who else? Who else could have got up to all that?
Not only
the respirator, the cool pack.
Someone in the lore makers has to...
It has to be Onwin. She was the leader. Now look, Victon.
Yes.
The thing you really need to understand is that Onwin left, you guys left, just as someone attacked the ship, and Rhett and some of her underbosses were killed. So the rest of Rhett's gang think that it's suspicious that the moment that an attack happens, you guys left shortly before.
You see the penny drop, as it were, and he's like, they think it's us.
So it's best that you stay on the island for a bit.
Okay. Well, I'll need to let Anwin know about the elder.
Yeah, but...
She'll be really upset.
Well, in fact, you should probably go tell Alman now. We'll hang around for like another 30 minutes if she wants to come chat to us herself. If not, we're heading east.
Okay.
And as I say, it's probably best that you don't make any attempts to sort of leave the island because you are being watched. And I can point out, can we see like the little boats and stuff?
Yeah, you can see sort of like a couple of the rowboats, as it were.
And I'll point to those ones and be like, they're specifically waiting for you to leave.
Okay, I'll go speak to Anwin, and if she wants to speak to you, I'll be back within the next half hour. And he runs off, leaving no one to guard the boat, because he's also wandered off.
Shall we take the boat and skedaddle?
Why?
Because Caspian is a jerk?
Yes.
Hey, you agreed with me a little too quickly there.
Well, you're the one who suddenly made up stuff about attack when I said she blew herself up.
Yeah, oops.
Yeah, so, oops. Plus, I'm saving stuff for that. So I think Victim didn't know anything about what was going on. Like, I've known that guy for like years, and I think he's telling the truth. So I don't think all the lore keepers were necessarily in on whatever was happening. As Moss said, maybe it was just Arwen. Or at least maybe like they were just limiting the amount of people who knew about it. Because,
possible.
Secret's harder to keep the more people you tell.
That's true.
So sometimes the easiest way to keep a secret is just only 2 or 3 people know what's going on. You just restrict anyone who can go in, which they were doing.
Hey, as a friend of mine once said, it's not a secret if you tell someone.
But there must have been some plan because, like, I'm no expert, but they couldn't have kept that up forever. Like, they chilled that body, but bodies eventually go off no matter how cold they are.
They had a plan. And that plan was obviously been set in motion, don't you think? Rhett's gone and they're on the island. I think that they're exactly where they want to be.
This is not the plan they would have had to make. They were saying she had weeks left to live. And I don't think... Also, we kind of suggested she go to the island. They were just sort of like going to run off. I don't think this was part of their plan.
They agreed too
this was their plan. I've lost a lot of respect for the lore makers because this is a terrible plan.
They agreed
How
to
are
us
they profiting from this? Now they're no longer the lawmakers. They're just becoming the farmers real quickly here.
Yeah. Like, they've lost most of the supplies that they couldn't take on that little boat.
Okay, well,
And maybe
they had to leave behind most of the artifacts.
First of all, Caspian was kidding. Second, he's just being Caspian.
You're just shitting the shit while we wait for them to turn up. Just winding us up.
maybe the law keepers are changing their profession. Maybe they want to elect themselves a different leader. I think possibly we should leave them to sort that out on the island, but amongst themselves. Might be an idea to take that boat with us.
Yeah. I can't remember. Do the lawmakers have a lot of like techie people who can fix things?
They do. So the majority of the ones for them are chroniclers and a couple of gearheads. And
so there's no way we can really disable the boat in a way that they wouldn't be able to like fix it eventually.
I mean, you could sink it.
Well, yes, we could sink the boat, but
yeah, no, in reality, no.
I don't want to do that to my main victim. Like,
is there a way to do something to their boat that doesn't damage it, but makes it so that they can't use it to leave the island?
No. I was just thinking, no, there isn't a particular way to do that.
Like take the oars, take the sail. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you could make it difficult. Yeah, I mean, you could take the sail. I mean, it'll take a little bit of time to do that.
We'll see what happens if Anwin shows up or not.
Yeah. If she doesn't show up in 30 minutes, then fair enough. They obviously don't rate us high enough to even... To be fair, they might be going into full like revolution up there in the graveyard at the moment. If Victon is not very smart and just blurts out everything we said to everyone.
Yeah.
Which he might do. He's a bit like that sometimes. He is very free-spirited. And
he is a bit like that.
So that might very well be actually happening.
Yeah, I suggest if there is sounds of violence and a reassessment of their management structure, I think we should leave them to it.
I agree, but I think we leave them to it, but we strand them.
I mean, you could quite easily just take the boat.
I was thinking, just take it on tow.
I was thinking destroy it, but okay.
This is too valuable a commodity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, we might leave it back with Elson.
Yeah,
but we would pass that way on our way east anyway, right?
We don't want to give Rhett's gang a way to get to the island.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. So we either
so maybe we should take control of all the boats.
We either tow it with us, which might become a liability, or we destroy it.
I mean, we could just hide it in the next whatever promising looking inlet or something that would go past.
While the weather's good, we can tow it. If the weather changes, we can find some idea.
We could hide it in the city because we had a good look through there.
That is true. Yeah, and that didn't look like there's people around there on a regular basis.
And there's no way to get to the city without a boat.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like if an inlet, someone might walk across it. With the city, the thing, you can't get there without a boat. It's in the middle of the ocean.
It's not like the boat is going to get corrupted with rot and not be usable any longer, right?
Yeah, no, it's not.
We could also just like dismantle it and take it into the building or something like that. But we'll give them their 30 minutes, and then...
Yeah, they don't come back in 30 minutes.
Fuck it, we're taking the boat. And I'm going to leave a note. I'm going to make a note in stone on the beach that says F-U.
Okay.
And I will add Onwin specifically.
Yes, F-U Onwin.
And when I'm like, don't be mad, names all of them.
Okay, you're going to take the boat. That's fine. So who is going in the catamaran and who is going in the scrap boat?
Well, can we just tie the scrap boat to the catamaran?
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like tow it behind us?
Yeah, it just means it's going to take, half the time to kind of like travel wherever you want to travel.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. But you're already kind of like, if you're going to take it to the city under the waves, then you've already been that way. So it's only going to take you 3 hours to go across up the fair. So that's fine.
It's easy.
All right. I'll tell you what you want to do. Would you like to make me a navigate roll as you head west?
And that's find the path, right?
There, yes. Find the path.
1 success.
Okay, so you come into it's not a new sector, but you've been through here before, so it's going to take you sort of 3 hours to kind of make your way through. Yeah, that's fine. You got the 1 success, so you just make your way through quite quickly, and then presumably you're going to go down, follow the path around the island, and then into the city beneath. Or do you want to go into the sector directly west of you? You have never actually been in; you've only seen it. So
No. We're going to go
south. The way you've been before.
Yes.
So essentially going down south 1 and then across west 1.
Yes, please.
Okay. That's fine. If you can make another navigate roll for me, please, or another find the path roll.
I keep on forgetting I should be inspiring sea shanties. Hang on, let me just inspire first because you might give you some extra dice to play with.
This is going to be the one about the rats again, right? Come on. I love that one.
Okay. Well, that's 2 successes on the inspire, so inspiring our navigator to navigate.
So how many dice does that give me?
So you just roll your dice, and if you get any successes, you get to add 2 to it.
Okay. So I have 1 success, so that's a total of 3.
So 3 successes. So you get to choose what you'd like to do. So first of all, as you kind of come into this zone, you can see the sort of like crumbled, broken down beach. And beyond the beach, you can see sort of a lot of flat, squared, old buildings. And then it kind of raises up into the land. And on the land, you can see this large post that kind of raises itself up really high. There's loads of like wires and stuff that come from the post. And you can see that sort of like down the center of sort of like the southern part of that zone, there is some kind of like large creek that's flowing through, a very odd creek because it's got very slanted sides and it looks like it's material from the time before. That's what you can see. You can ask a number of questions. So you've got 3 successes, so you can ask 2 things. Okay, you can either read the rot level for the sector, you can fish 1 ration of rot damaged fish, you can explore the sector, taking half the normal time, so it'll take you 2 hours. You can rush through the sector in a quarter of the time if you just want to like zip through, so it'll only take an hour to get through. Or you can look around for artifacts, bullets, that kind of thing.
And this is the city beneath.
No, you're not the city beneath. So if I look at the map, you're on this.
Yeah, I think,
one here.
Marco, we know nothing about this area. We've only
So
gone
you've not
past
been
it.
in. You've only
So
gone
we don't
past
know the
it.
rot or anything in.
Oh, well, I definitely want to know the rot.
Okay, right. So it has a very strong rot level. So for every hour you're there, you're going to be taking rot.
For every hour we're here, we're going to take rot. Now I have rot finder talent.
Excellent.
So when
what does that
using
say again?
find a path, you have access to a new stunt that you can choose when you roll extra successes.
Okay.
To find the most rot-free route through the sector. The rot level counts as 1 step lower during this visit to the sector.
Hey, so it would be rot level 2. So that means it'll go down to rot level 1
Excellent.
as you wander through. So as long as you don't spend a number of hours here, you should be okay.
And we're in the
any
boat,
rot.
so we're just like hugging the coast, right?
You're hugging the coast, so you're not
Yep.
gonna get any rot. That's basically what you're doing. It's basically going around the coast, you're not gonna
Yep.
get any rot.
Okay.
But you haven't really explored the rest of the zone because it's just there. So you're just kind of like
Yep.
playing through.
Yep.
So that's 2 of your stunts, which is both of them. So that's fine. Okay. Which then takes you into the next zone, which is the city beneath, which you can make another navigate roll for me, please.
Do you want me to inspire again? I'll just keep saying things.
In another life, you might have been some sort of lounge singer or something.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I have 2 more because my sea shanties are still that good, and I've not ever. You've not reached repeat on the shuffle of the sea shanties yet.
Not yet. So, Marco, if you want to make your roll. Okay,
That's another
2 successes. So 1 success, and then you get 2 extras.
right. So 3 again.
So not after the first, it's for everyone after the first.
Okay.
So you get 2 more to do. Same thing. What would you like to pick?
I think we know there's rot here.
You do know this right here.
And we did find, we looked for, I think, more for bullets last time, I think, wasn't it? Because Moss had expended a lot of them.
Can you give me the page in the supplement?
Yes, it is page 11. The rest of you, obviously, you see the building that had the rats in. You try and stay away from that. And then further on, you can just make out the island across into the next zone.
I think the description of that island was bleak.
It was bleak.
So, yeah, that's the only thing we know about that island is it looked up.
Yeah, so it was the island had a large building on, and the sky was a sort of like yellowy kind of greenish color. That's sort of like a mist or haze that hung over the island.
So I'm gonna explore the sector because we're looking for a really good place to hide this extra boat.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense. Yeah, you find one of the buildings that you kind of probably didn't get to before has got like a large, just at the sea level, it's got like a large sort of like almost like a hangar, as it were. A load of the side of the building had crushed through, and so you could potentially drop off the boat in there, and it would be relatively hidden unless someone came in looking for it directly.
Yeah, and we'll tie it up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and if there's something we can cover it with, we'll do that. But if not, we'll just tie it up and leave it as it is.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of have a look around at it, and it seems to be the most ideal place. You can kind of move some of the sort of like bits of metal to sort of like cover some of the sort of entrance, as it were. It's not ideal, but it's the best thing you're going to do.
Okay, good.
Unless you're really looking for something, you probably wouldn't necessarily notice it's there.
Yeah, okay.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, this only took us half the morning, right? So like this
it's taken you 3, 4, 5, 6 hours so far. So it's taken you, most of the morning is taken it.
So do we want to head east?
Well,
or do we want to go?
There's an island.
We want to go to the island
there.
Yeah. Do we want to go to this island here?
Like, I'm not hugely sure about the red mist or anything yellow clouds.
It turns out Cochran's colorblind. It was a green and yellow mist.
Yeah.
But I promise we'll get to go east eventually, sometime, maybe in session 9.
But to be fair, he feels a bit bad about stranding Victon at the moment. But they need to sort out their own stuff, and people the ability to like leave the island and not face the consequences of their actions might be a bit. So hopefully we'll leave them there for like a few days or a couple of weeks, and they'll sort it out something.
Victon needs to choose what side he's on.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's on the side that wins amongst the lore keepers.
Oh, shall we go to this island here that's to the west of the city beneath?
What we do have is our multiple pairs of see far away cylinders.
Oh, the see far away things. Yeah, use those.
Because we've got your portable ones and then my not very portable ones.
They're portable if you're strong enough. They're fine.
Takes like 2 people to haul that thing, my portable ones around. I think they stay on the boat most of the time.
Yeah, maybe Moss could set it up at the bow of the boat.
Yeah, like they were fixed on things when we were up there, so maybe, I don't know, could you like fix it to the boat?
You could do that. That wouldn't be
I
too
love
hard
that.
a thing.
Do I give you a tinker roll for that?
Yeah, well, go on then. Why don't you? Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus side, Caspian doesn't have to share his one. Everyone could just use the one.
So is this building something new rather than repairing? I'm not sure if it applies.
Yeah, it's building something new.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not fine. I'm going to push this because I really want this to happen now.
Okay.
If not, you're going to drop in the war, and they were like, oh, well, there they go.
You might well do that. Oh, my God.
No.
So,
biohazard.
So, you have taken all of your stat in damage, so you've pushed yourself to the fact that you're now broken.
Yeah, I think I've proven the point that this was not, in fact, portable. I could just not hold that thing.
So your jury rig uses your agility or your strength, or what? What was the
based on her character sheet? It's her strength.
Yeah, strength. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of like affix the thing. You're spending ages trying to sort it out. You just exhaust yourself. You kind of just keep going at this thing until you just can't do it anymore. And you kind of gets to the point where you forget to eat, and it's relatively warm. It's not overcast skies or anything like that. It's relatively breezy but calm, and you just realize that you probably just have been out in the sun too long doing it. The rest of you are sort of like sitting under sort of like under the shade, but that moss basically essentially dries up a little bit.
And when you're in amphibian, you don't want to do that.
No, and all of a sudden you feel really lightheaded and you hit the floor. Tell you what, roll me d6. If you get a 1, you fall overboard.
All right, okay.
Oh, so close. Now the
2. Rolled a 2. Yep.
Yeah. So yes, you almost go overboard, but you hit the floor, and then the rest of you are like, "Oh my god!" And yeah, I mean, who wants to heal good old?
I can
Moss?
give her the once over. Let's see. Heal, is it? Nope, because I got
Oopsie.
nothing. You know what?
Don't. You can choose to push it if you want.
Would that? I don't think. Unless I get really bad, it shouldn't kill me as well. Okay, there we go. 2 successes and I took 1 damage.
Okay, yeah. So you kind of like look her over and sort of like, yeah, she's definitely suffered some serious dehydration, and she just collapsed. Basically, you need to rehydrate her and give her some food, and that's pretty much the best thing you can do. And she'll need to sort of rest for a bit, and then it'll be okay.
But she gets back because he has 2 successes on his push. She gets 2 points of her strength back.
If I can, so if I can remember about when you basically knock yourself out from pushing, there is a thing. I can't remember if it's in this one or it could be Coriolis. I can't remember. Where you heal.
I'm just reading from the heal skill on page 53.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Take 2 back.
Yeah, and Coriolis, you knock out your mind points, don't you?
I'll be generous to you. Yeah, absolutely. You look after you. You can have 2 points of your strength back.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I really just needed that water.
Yeah, so the water and food, and I mean, it's a good time for all of you to use up one of your grub and water, and then you make your way towards the island, correct?
Correct.
You know what? I'm going to be a bit jammy, and I'm going to spend one of my mutant points instead of eating. And
Okay,
just,
that's
and just do some photosynthesis since we're just sitting around like
cool.
trees. I'm literally sunbathing for nutrients. So I'll spend 1, because I'm part tree, part plant, as a thing. I
like that.
Spend
That's
a
quite
mutant
cool.
point.
Okay,
Well, I'm sitting around not doing anything anyway, so I might as well just, feed myself.
that's true. Well, as you start to sort of like make your way further west, the wind starts to pick up, and the nice, light, gentle breeze that you had starts to kind of come in from behind you, which starts to make you go faster. But within sort of, half hour, 45 minutes, visibility starts to get bad. A haze kind of goes over the sea, and you kind of lose that sort of island to the west. Can you make a navigate through to the zone at -1, please, Marco?
Wait, hang on. Sea shanties.
Sea shanties first.
Except now I'm doing 1 less. It's still 2 successes again.
So, okay, Marco.
3 successes. Oh my gosh. Really? Singing my guts out. That's 1 success.
Excellent. So you actually have, so you've got 4 successes, so you can do 3 things.
Look at us go.
You guys are, it's quite quick, but as you're kind of getting towards the island, the sort of like haze kind of drops down, and as you're kind of navigating through the sort of leftover wreckage of the buildings, you kind of get to the island. Whereabouts in the island would you like to post up?
So I
Directly?
need to do my stunts, right?
Yeah, you need to do your stunts.
Okay, so can I read the rot of the island before we step foot on it?
You can indeed.
And can I use my talent again?
Is that the
Rot Finder?
Yes. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So basically, I want to read the rot level of the sector, and then I want to find on the island the most rot-free route.
Yep.
To make landfall.
Okay. Right. So it has got a strong rot. So you're going to take rot every hour. You can find your way around, which means that you'll be walking through or landing at a place of weak rot, which means you'll take 1 rot every day that you stay here. That's not a problem. And you've still got 1 more.
Okay. And then I want to... Do I see a ruin?
Yes. There's a tall building sort of like almost in the center of the island. which you can see through the haze of the yellowy sort of sky. Even though the wind is sort of like quite strong, that sort of haze seems to just hang about the island.
Yeah, that.
I'm with Cochran. I don't like that piss-colored sky. We should check out that building. And I know the best path through this rot-infested island. Follow me.
So you make landfall and you
Tie up the
make your
boat.
way into the island. Yeah, tie up the boat.
I want to know what causes this. A good weapon?
All right.
Could just be that one of the ancients took a piss on this island.
I don't know. If we don't understand it, it's probably worth just blaming an artifact and leaving it at that.
As you get off onto the island, as your feet touch the ground, there's this crunching, clinking noise that underfoot everywhere. You see that there's lots of little splinters of glass everywhere. They're kind of like jutting in and out the rocks in the sort of like broken up concrete and blacktops. There are buildings that are sort of low and demolished and broken. And in between that, there's sort of like other shards of sort of glass like sticking up and down. Loads of little bits of glass as well. So as you walk, you crunch on everything. And the island kind of is slightly raised. So you have to kind of go up. This large, well, you think it's a big, massive building. Now you've actually got closer to it. You can't actually see it through the sort of like yellow haze and stuff.
Careful of all this sharp glass beneath our feet. Have I seen something like this before?
No, you have.
Quite strange. The land itself is made of glass.
Then again, we saw those entire towers in the city that looked like they had been made of glass. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe they just put glass on the ground here instead of just on the buildings. Maybe they made everything out of glass in this area.
Maybe this is made out of one of those towers that fell or something?
Why would one make a building out of glass? It seems inefficient, unsafe, and there's no privacy.
None whatsoever.
Maybe the ancients were just perverts.
And that's where we're going to end. No. You say that as you make your way sort of up into sort of like up towards the building. As you get closer to the building, you hear the sort of like noise, sort of like the wind, but then more wind. And then you hear something rustling above your heads. As you hear something rustling above your heads, you can make out things drifting down from the building.
What do you mean drifting? What do you mean drifting?
As if they're sort of like floating through the haze. They look like these dark shapes.
We're going to be attacked by rock gulls any second now.
Well, funny you should mention that. As you sort of like look up and go, rock gulls, and these floating dark images suddenly dive bomb towards you.
Well, at least they didn't poop in our face.
These there's probably a good handful of them dive bomb you as you all look up. You realize there isn't any really place to hide or go. And I think that seems like a good place to end the session tonight. Thank you very much for listening to us yet again. You seem to have managed to get it through way to episode 8. There's more to come. Stick around.
Tune in next week to see if these flying things poop on our faces.
We're taking bets. Are they going to poop on their faces or are they just going to rip them off?